So mad there's no control.
Ladies and gentlemen, just in case you live under a rock,
I might
you
grab
are
a bat,
looking
I
at
don't
the
know, my
youngest
rap, my
and
blood
best
boils
rising
over
star
like,
in
oh God, here
professional
goes. I
wrestling
lost all
today.
feeling from my head to my toes. You said some shit that I can't let go, so just stay tuned for the rest of the show. So have you ever felt betrayed? Switches how you see things, realize something needs change. Cause I know you got me fucked up, let me show you what's up. Cause enough is enough. I'll take a face full of pavement just to make a statement. I know there's no turning back. Oh God, adrenaline wasted, so mad I can taste it. I know there's no turning back. I'll do what it takes, I ain't making mistakes like that. I'll play it on your face just to make you go take it back. I'll lose my shit, I go crazy when I'm mad. And now you gon' wish you was just a fucked up real bad.
Be the villain! And I have no problem at all, because I couldn't care less if you like me or not. I'm here for success, and there's no one more successful than Grayson Waller.
Yeah! Let me talk to you! War game.
Let me talk to you indeed. Welcome everyone to the Heal the Ring podcast. It is the NXT Vengeance Day review. First and foremost, let's say hello to Jay. Salute, Jay.
Salute to you, Kev, and salute to everybody listening and watching at home. Thank you for joining us in this NXT Vengeance Day review. Let's get this going.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. First and foremost, please hit those likes if you're watching us on the Facebook, YouTube app, or any of the video platforms as well. Anywhere in the audio platform, please give us a 5-star review. Will help our program, help us reach others and that want to hear a wrestling podcast from a wrestling fan to a wrestling fan. We're not journalists. We don't pretend to be. We don't pretend to have insights, or we're just fans and that love the sport, entertainment of wrestling, and we're just going to review it and give you our honest opinions here. So it is the Vengeance Day premium live event outside of Orlando, Florida, on the road here. All in all, before we're going to review it, for those of us that are watching us for the first time, we'll give you our opinion. First and foremost, before we get into any of the matches, the aesthetics, the crowd, the arena, the venue. How did it look from you there, Jay?
It looked packed, man, and this felt like an actual show on the main roster with the amount of people in attendance, because we're so used to being in the Performance Center. Me and Kev go every Tuesday to NXT, so seeing a bunch of people in the arena besides Stand and Deliver last year, it was pretty cool.
It looked really good on that. Now, I couldn't join you for the first part of it. I was trying to do the New York Knicks watch along, and of course, my had some technical issues that I couldn't finish the whole streaming platform. So I did come out and watch from the almost like the second half of the card. But we get the kickoff, the premium live event with the first match of the night. We saw Wes Lee defending his North American title against the challenger, none other than Dijak. Now, at first, Dijak tries to sucker. Lee tried to sucker Dijak in by pretending to lay down for him. But when the big man went for a cover, Lee kicked out right in the head. Give me your thoughts of this match, the back and forth with Dijak and Wes Lee. What was your thoughts? Did it live up to an opening bout in your mind?
Yes, 100%. It was definitely a good way to open Vengeance Day, especially being back on the road for NXT. This is the first premium live event, minus Stand and Deliver last year. Now they're on the road. They were in Charlotte, North Carolina. What a great way to open the show with Dijak and Wes Lee. Man, what a match. It was a hard-hitting match. Dijak was in control most of the match, but Wes Lee ended up pulling something out of his playbook and picking up the win on Dijak. It was a good match.
Let me see if I see if I have any of the pictures or any of the highlights. You absolutely. I'm going to give you a couple of the spots there. Memorable moments and observation was that Death Valley driver that Dijak hit on the floor looked so brutal. Oh my God, he really and Wes Lee sold it. And then the German suplex that Lee was impressive, displaying his power on Dijak. I like that there, and the reverse Rana was good. Looked a little bit clunky, but it still was something like, oh, wait a minute. So we saw a lot of the things a lot of the guys don't normally do on every Tuesday night. You saw Dijak also with a spike his head on the mat when Lee reversed a power bomb into a Hurricanrana there. Um, I know we want to talk about the most brutal part of the match that is went viral here was the finger of Dijak being dislocated there. We saw that Wes Lee defended and retained and continues to hold his North American title. He gets the defense. We also saw Tony D'Angelo along with Stacks out on ringside in a spot there. The right guy to me won this fight. They won this match.
100%. I can see Dijak being North American champion, but man, Wesley is on a roll, and I don't think he's losing that NXT North American Championship for a long time, man. He's jumping through obstacles. He faced Tony D'Angelo, and then also he just now faced Dijak. What a big man of Dijak. He's coming in there for justice, but unfortunately, Dijak did not do what he wanted to do. And Wesley obviously overcome that obstacle, and there are going to be much more obstacles for Wesley in the near future. And I hope he just jumps through those hoops and reclaims that NXT North American Championship. Every single match.
Now we did see the moonsault taken by Dijak. That's why Tony D'Angelo and Stacks were out there. A big guy like that. I don't think it was enough. I don't think a Wesley could by himself take that brunt of that fall there. It's a safe spot there. But all in all, let me ask you this: what's next for Wesley? I personally would like to see him go up against Tyler Bates.
Yeah, you said it, and I agreed with you before when you told me about it. Now I think the next challenger has to be Tyler Bate. I mean, he just came back, and it looks like he's not going to go for the NXT Championship. He might be in the mid card division now, and he took some time off, obviously for visa issues, but he's now back, and I think he's going to be the next challenger. We'll definitely find out next Tuesday and the next upcoming weeks, leading up to Stand and Deliver.
Indeed. And we'll see what I think Tony D'Angelo and Dijak, depending on the severity on Dijak's broken finger, how long he'll be out there. So that's the first night. What a way to open up the card. We get the second match of the night. It's for the women NXT Women Tag Team titles. Katana and Carter, Chance and Carter taking on Kiana, James, and Henley in a match here for the tag team titles on the line in the second match of the night. And you had James and Carter started the match off with the basic lockup. You had Carter taunting with the cowboy at ringside to anger James. Back and forth banter. The story of the match was Henley and James having communication issues. Could they get along? Could they coexist with both women? And they still wanted to win that match. But this bout has some fun spots. And me personally, before we give out the spoilers of the winner, I thought there was some good spots there. Of course, we saw Carter chanting Briggs and Jensen was kind of funny. Briggs and Jensen had a hilarious facial expression throughout this bout. You saw them definitely going into Henley getting mad when she finds out that what happened at the end of the match. Now, before we get in there, what was your thoughts before we get the result on the match itself between the ladies?
I enjoyed that match. Another banger of a match, as Sheamus would say. Another banger, man. We had Wesley taking on Dijak. That was a banger. And now Kayden and Katana taking on Kiana James and Fallon Henley. Man, that was a great match. Without any spoilers, man. Kayden and Katana with the tag team moves. Wow. They're impressive. And they were a good, good tag team. They are a good tag team.
And then we saw now we're going to give you the results. Now we saw a roll up where Katana was being pinned and Henley with the backslide, and Kiana James holds down the legs for no kick out, and we get the 3 count. Referee was out of position. We get new women tag team champions here in a team that we do not know that really could they have coexist. So I'm actually surprised there as we go get the wrong one there. We get new tag team champions, Katana and Helen Felly. I was shocked. I was shocked, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be a bigger storyline because I know if you were to see on NXT Tuesday, someone was on a phone call where Kiana says, "I love you. I'll talk to you soon." Now, Fallon thinks that Kiana is seeing someone behind Jensen's back, whatever the case, or saving her friends from heartbreak. But I think that the plot is going to twist a little bit here. But right now they have to coexist. They're tag team champions.
Yeah, 100%. And I was excited. That was my prediction. I had Kiana and Fallon picking up the win. But hey, the cheating did the cheating. It's getting out of hand. Obviously next Tuesday we'll find out what Kayden and Katana have to say about the cheating. And backstage, man, what Kiana, talking to somebody on the phone. Hey, the storyline can go either way. We can have Fallon turning on Kiana. We can have Kiana turning on Fallon, playing mind games, trying to get a championship. Just out of it. So we'll find out very soon.
Well, one thing about that phone call in the back, rumors that's supposed to be her brother. Rumors. The storyline is supposed to be a brother character, and it might be a Cordona, or it might be, woo, 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 it. That's what they were saying. I don't know. That's the rumors. But all in all, we have the new women's tag team champions. Congratulations on both of those ladies. I myself am a big fan of Katana, Chance, and Carter. I hope they get back into the title picture. I hope they don't split them. I hope there's no dissension. And I hope because these ladies, when they are the life of the party when it comes to NXT, I just hope they don't stay there as a token, like a Chase U nostalgia. I want them to actually continue to have success and be in the title pictures for Katana, Chance, and Carter. So we'll see what happens there. We have the next match here in the 2 out of 3 falls. So 2 out of 3 falls between Carmelo Hayes and Apollo Crew. Apollo Crew came out with his Nigerian outfit before. Of course, Melo got that wonderful standing introduction by his good friend, none other than Trick Williams. Before we even get to the match, that introduction was awesome. That was phenomenal.
100%. When I saw Trick Williams come out, I was like, "Is he gonna perform or something?" I said it in the stream. You came in at the same time, and I was like, "Is he gonna perform?" But no, that introduction, man, wow. Both introductions, actually, man, wow. They deserve it, man. They deserve every inch of that intro, every inch of respect. They deserve it all, man.
It was a good introduction for both men. Carmelo, that introduction in that he had against Ricochet in Worlds Collide was phenomenal, and I thought, what could top that? Because you saw all the hanging Raptors, all the jerseys wrapped, and this one, excuse me, with the Titan, with the Tron, and all that. I mean, wow! I can't wait when he makes a WrestleMania moment in the future. How big his introductions are going to be, because that right now in NXT may give you goosebumps. I can only imagine when the creative and then in the main roster with Carmelo Hayes, and when he gets there, phenomenal. So we get the match between these two guys. Um, Not for it was back and forth here. You saw some standing start press. Melo actually gets the first fall with a submission here on Apollo Crew. So okay, um, what was your thoughts on that one there? That submission was it Apollo Crew knowing he had a cushion where he didn't want to take too much damage, because it's rare when you see people submit on that move.
Yeah, it is. Unfortunately, I was having a little bit of technical difficulties with my internet, so I really didn't get to see much. I did come back um when Apollo tapped out. So, but hey, like you said, we never see much people tap out with that move, with that submission hold. So maybe Apollo was having something up his sleeve, possibly like, oh yeah, I'll let you get a fall. Let me not take as much damage, and let me attempt to get 2 falls out of these next few minutes here that we had left of that match. So yeah.
Right, and let me tell you this: since they had that stipulation, 2 out of 3 fall for this one is a clear cut winner, not no one get a cheap roll up or an outside interference. You had 2 out of 3 falls to get the victory. It kind of felt like saying unofficially that might have been a number one contenders match. Winner there could call their shot because it was a 2 out of 3. It felt like that. I don't know. To me, it felt like that. I don't know how that felt your way.
Yeah, I knew coming into this that whoever was going to win this match was going to go on to stand and deliver to face whoever won in that steel cage match that's happened that we'll talk about later tonight. Um, so yeah, it was whoever won this match was going to be on. It was going to be the next challenger. So yeah,
Cool.
it definitely
So
felt like it.
out now as the second fall starts. You saw Trick Williams not interfering physically, but being there at ringside, making his presence felt back and forth in throughout the match. Then out of nowhere comes Colonel AC. We haven't seen Colonel AC in a while. If you see him, if you're part of the NXT house shows that goes up and down the state of Florida, and not on television, but the house shows, Colonel AC was last seen with Corey Jade, kind of like a bodyguard. Colonel RC was outside the picture. He returned back into the fold, um, stops Trick Williams in one stop. It was like, oh, wait a minute. Now maybe Colonel RC is going to leveled the playing field with a Trick Williams on the side to help Apollo Crew. Apollo Crew acknowledged his friend. We saw them in the main roster when he had the Nigerian run there and that gimmick. And but still, to no avail, Carmelo gets the second pin. They didn't go three falls. Carmelo with a queen sleep with two straight wins, two falls. I was surprised there. I said, okay, I thought it was going three. Okay, when is Apollo going to pin Melo? And we'll go to the third and the decisive one. But no, Melo just, I was very impressed with that when Melo winning and beating Apollo.
Yeah, I was expecting much more to that match. I was expecting it to come down to whoever got the last fall. But Melo picking up an easy, clean win sets him up for staying to deliver. So yeah, I mean it is what it is, and with Commander Aziz being back now, what is that? What does he have to do now? What is next for him and Apollo Crews? What we want to know, we'll find out possibly Tuesday. We'll definitely find out then.
I'm glad you mentioned that because we'll definitely find out what more on Tuesday because after the celebration for Melo winning this 2 out of 3 fall, you left in the ring Colonel Rashid helping up his friend Apollo, and out of nowhere we get the classic turn, and he just levels Apollo, and he just beats him up there. I don't know because he might have left him in the without a gimmick, or we will find out more, like you said on Tuesday. Why was that turn? Now that also gives Apollo Crew a feud to go deal with, setting that what's next for Apollo. Well, now you got it. A Colonel I see in NXT. What's next for Melo? Stand and deliver. Whoever comes out on top in the main event, which we'll get to shortly there. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes there. So far the night has been really crisp. Has been really good. And then we have the NXT tag team titles. It's a fatal 4-way tag team titles. We all know it's the New Day defending their titles with 3 other tag teams. Of course, the number one contenders or the former NXT champions, Pretty Deadly. We saw the Gallus boys who won a gauntlet to get that right, and a token, which I think it was just to help the fans out in a nostalgic or I feel sorry, was Chase U. You know me, I don't know why the hell Chase U's there. It should have, me personally, I still say it. I'm going to say it until the stream is over. And it should have been Enofe and see Edric Enofe and Malik Blade. Malik Blade should be the ones there. I think they would have better spots, but nevertheless, well, no matter how much I quabble and squirm, it's not going to happen. So what's going on, little Reggie? Salute. Glad to see you, man. Good to see you.
Salute to you. Yeah, 100%. And on last Tuesday, I was there in attendance. I know you weren't there. You were dealing with a stream with a Knicks game. Um, that triple threat qualifying match, I was cheering and I was rooting for Malik and Enofe. You know, they're a great tag team. They're amazing in the ring. And I was hoping that they would be the next NXT champions. Maybe go against Gallus boys, even though it is going to be a tough challenge for them. But I think they might get it done. I think they will definitely, if they're the next challengers, I think they'll get it done.
Now, one of the moments there I liked was Pretty Deadly. Although they changed their introduction music a little bit, but their ring jackets were phenomenal. They were very fierce. They came out with that ring jacket. New Day, of course, got the biggest pops. Studio always coming in whenever they come into anywhere, any place, they get always the biggest introduction. Dio Hale, that's the only really good part, great part of Chase U. Her energy, the way she runs around, and her nuttiness. She looked like Scrappy Doo from the old Scooby Doo, puppy power. Other than now the match, when for the match, it was a clean match. All 4 competitors, I enjoyed it. Even the stiff Andre Chase he did actually some good moves there. He threw himself from the top ropes. You know, he was not bad. Although you could always tell his pattern. But I said on the watch along here. Oh, here comes a Russian leg sweep. Here we go, and there it is, and there we go. Give me a C. Give me a. He's predictable, but he actually was not bad. I really enjoy all 8 men in this ring. You had some near falls. You Pretty Deadly looked really strong as a tag team. They were very, very in control, double teaming. They're working together as a tag team. Pretty Deadly, even despite, and we'll give you the spoiler right now. We have a new tag team champions. I won't tell you who it is yet, but we have new champions. New Day did not retain their titles, but they looked so good. Pretty Deadly as a tag team with the tag team moves, dominant on the court. Duke Hudson trying to get someone through the table. He ended up to the announce tape, the TV monitors. He ended up going through the table. Back and forth, the Gallus boys, rough and rugged. And give us your thoughts there on that, and give us the winner of the match.
My thoughts on the match was it was hard hitting. There was a lot of good spots. I enjoyed it. This is another banger. We had 3 bangers in a row, man. It was a good match. Obviously, and can I give the winners out, right?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
And the winners obviously are Gallus boys. They're the most dominant team in that fatal 4-way. And out of all those 4 teams, Gallus boys is the most dominant. So obviously they picked up the win. And I want to ask you this, Kev. What do you think is next for Pretty Deadly?
I think Pretty Deadly should get called up to the main roster, but
Yeah,
it's not gonna. It's probably gonna happen. You know what? It's probably gonna happen the Monday night after WrestleMania. Or Friday, whatever, because that's like when new storylines and you kind of reset after WrestleMania. It's like it's like saying the new start of a new baseball season or the new NFL season. WrestleMania is like that. So so they should go to the main roster, personally, but not yet. They should. They will. But I still think they're going to have another match in the start, a couple matches, a match in Stand and Deliver, and then they'll make their debut. Unless who knows? They could swerve us, and maybe they have a WrestleMania match where they get introduced and get not squashed but lose because it's Pretty Deadly. Who knows? What's your thoughts?
Now, I've said this since they lost the tag team championships to the New Day at Deadline. I said this, they should be called up to the main roster. They have the it factor. They have the heat. The crowd hates them because they're heels, and they're good in the ring. They're a great tag team, and I think they're gonna make when they go to the main roster, they're definitely gonna have a big impact no matter which brand they go on. If it was Monday Night Raw or Friday Night SmackDown, they're gonna make a big impact, and I feel like not now, not like if they made it now, but in the near future, in the next 5 years, I can see them being tag team champs.
Yeah, I can see that too. Here, there's this. I know there's been reports that WrestleMania is going to have a sponsor match similar to the Mountain Dew Pitch Black, something about Cinnamon Toast Crunch or something like that. So
That's what I was gonna say.
you'll have a Cinnamon Toast Crunch match with Pretty Deadly taking on Maximum Male Model.
Oh God,
Hey, they both got a little cinnamon toast and crunch. You never know.
I could see Pretty Deadly going into Maximum Male Models. I could see them being,
Side,
members.
side.
Side paycheck. I can
Yeah.
see them being in there,
No,
100%.
I don't see them in the maximum against them. Like who they can have a model off and sponsored by Cinnamon Toast Crunch. You never
Yeah.
know. There's some they so you don't never know. There's some people think that the Pretty Deli got sugar in their tank, or Maximum Model looks like they got some sugar in their tank, and you little sprinkle a little cinnamon in there, and you good to go. You never
I
know.
guess that TV show for Maximum Male Models is not cutting it out, so they have to be sponsored by Cinnamon Toast Crunch at WrestleMania. That reality
You
show
know,
ain't cutting it for them.
But this spot was good. The match was, you know what? So far, the 3 matches, none of them felt long. They felt if they were properly entertaining. They gave the right time to tell their story. I think the tag team title, the tag team 4-way, told its story. It gave us a storyline, and it told it. It didn't feel rushed. So I got to give kudos with sometimes when you have 8 men, it could get clunky, it could get botchy, or guys fatigue. But I thought they went all out and with the right amount of time to tell that story. So kudos here on the agents and the bookers that worked so far with these three matches so far here on the NXT Vengeance. I really enjoyed it. I'm really enjoying so far what I'm seeing. So now we get to the fourth match of the night. It's for the women's NXT title. You have Roxanne Perez taking on Gigi Dolin and Jayne from Toxic Attraction. Of course, we kick it off with both ladies coming out from, of course, Toxic Attraction. They're a tag team. They're going to try to avenge the loss of that NXT Women's title of their good friend and Patreon of Toxic Attraction, Mandy Rose. Of course, they both come out. Roxanne Perez, of course, comes out. I know you had a mention. Roxanne come out with the puffy shirt. Maybe she thought she was at the kiddies pool. She had her floaties on, so I didn't want her to fall into deep waters. Um, but hey, Roxanne Perez looks like a star. I know she should take off the little floaties, but other than that, I thought the match. Before with all three ladies here, I'm gonna give you some memorable moments of the match that I thought was when with Dolin and Jacy making their entrance together was a nice detail there. I like Jacy hitting the kick to Perez at one point and looked at a little stiff, but man, but the champion recovered like this. Jacy when she hits people, she makes them look like ooh, like she could really hurt someone. We saw and I mentioned that on the watch along how she made Piper Nevin I think bleed last time when she hit her with that kick in that gauntlet match. But all in all, I enjoyed it. It wasn't a little too clunky either. You saw there was some confliction between Toxic Attraction as well. Who was going to, like you called it. They're going to be some pins and they're going to be pulling people off each other back and forth. You saw the ladies tease about disliking each other, but then they work together as a team. And of course, you saw the one thing about it. We all knew who was the booker on this match. It was none other than Devon. Give me your thoughts there before we go on with the win.
Um, I like this match. It wasn't a banger of a match, but it was a good match. It felt amazing. It wasn't dragged on. It didn't feel boring at all. But obviously, I said it. I said it in the watch along, and you just mentioned it too. I called it kind of with the them fighting over who got the pin. It was quite obvious they were gonna team up on Roxanne Perez, and at one point in time they were going to turn on each other. Now, we didn't see an actual turn. We did see them fight a little bit and then get back to being a team. As you said, the Devon thing, we had Gigi Dolin telling Jacy, get the table. And we had an amazing spot to end off the match. Now, I'm not going to give you the spoilers of who won the match, but I'll give you that spot. When Gigi got pushed into the table, and man, I don't know what's going on with Gigi in that match. It seemed like she was kind of like an Isladon, like kind of like a witch, and she was going crazy. So I wonder what's next for both Gigi and Jacy, as we see both of them, kind of turn on each other and not at the same time. So I wonder what's next.
We're gonna get right back to that 1 second there. We saw that spot there. One thing I want to give kudos to Jacy, actually to Gigi Dolin. With that, she did a German suplex with a bridge. She actually arced up and did a bridge. Phenomenal job on her. Also saw her tonight. I don't know if it's because it was outside of the performance center, and it felt like they had to take or adrenaline kicked in. But because I saw the same Gigi I saw on Raw on SmackDown on that women's tournament. I saw last tonight too. Much better competitor in the ring than I see every week after week at the performance center. She's very clunky in the performance center, very botchy, or you could tell that really you really didn't sell that move. But whenever she's outside of the confines of the performance center, she goes. We seen her. Of course, we saw her coming from other companies, from the independent circuit, from Elevation, coming into NXT, so forth. When she was Priscilla Kelly, she could go. That's why it's an enigma when it comes to her, because we know she could perform, but when she performs in front of us in the performance center, it looks clunky. Jacy looks like a star, and of course, while Roxanne pushes Gigi through the table, goes to the spot. She hits a pop rocks, and she gets the pin on Jacy Jayne and retains her title. Now, I want to go back to what you were mentioning with Gigi, where she goes from there. She looked her Gigi likes to mess around or pretend to like all that Tim Burton Nightmare Before Christmas, embrace that Halloween dark, like you said, Albert Fire type of role. What's next for her? I could be if they go separate ways. Maybe she, like you said, a dark persona. Maybe they form with because I believe Albert Fire should go to the main roster, but whatever the case may be, where maybe Albert Fire and Aladon takes on Toxic Attraction, where they use a spell to kind of mess up with JC and I mean with Gigi to go up against JC. Because to be honest with you, why she really woman potential is Jacy Jayne. She does all the mannerisms, all the heel moves, like she's ready. Gigi was holding her back was the wrestling maneuvers, but if she's doing these wrestling like she wrestled last night and she wrestled on SmackDown, and that's why it makes you wonder. Damn, there is a lot. There's Gigi has a lot of potential, but when it comes, like again, not to sound in circles, she's just got to show it more often, be more consistent for us. Like, oh, she's ready.
Yeah, and I think the number one thing that's like kind of like messing with her a little bit on the move sets and stuff like that that she showed tonight, definitely it's the crowd. It's a much smaller, compact space a little bit, and we're all much closer and kind of like pretty much we can kind of feel their body heat sometimes with the up close person. But in a huge arena like that, there's an adrenaline, like you said, there's adrenaline. She's pumped, she's hyped, she's in the moment, and she's doing it, and she needs to show that in NXT too, because if she wants to go to the main roster and improve and get better to get to the main roster, she needs to do it at NXT too, because she's not just going to wrestle one night on a pay per view and not wrestle on Tuesdays or a random Tuesday. She has to show it on at NXT in the Performance Center and able to move forward and get to that main roster debut. But I think Jacy Jayne is ready for the main roster. If they do go their separate ways, I could definitely see Jacy Jayne go into the main roster without Gigi Dolin, because if they split it up, there's no point of having both of them go up at the same time. Jacy Jayne is more talented in the ring, in my eyes. I think she could get somewhere in the main roster than she already is down here in NXT.
Yeah, that's it. But for Gigi, is consistency on a week to week basis. Shows putting the work because what that shows that bookers or talent evaluators on a Tuesday night that watch her, she's not really caring too much for her craft. And when she goes, well, you send her to the big to the when the lights are big, she performs. It kind of shows a little laziness. You should always well, one thing about performers, they want you to show you that you care about no matter if you're wrestling in front of one person or 70,000 plus. They want you to see how well you're going to sell the story, sell the moves, and put over your opponent, regardless of not going, or regardless if they're not going over. But what can you do as a performer to get your opponent over without going over? So that's what Gigi has to work on. And but I'm pretty sure they're going to show this film to her, and they're going to show her what she did there was phenomenal. She think she and it's not a knock on her. She did they both her and JC without getting the victory were entertaining. The match was entertaining. We knew Roxanne Perez were going to win. We knew it. We knew the whole, but we wanted to see how they were going to tell us that story, and they told us that story excellent. You know, there was and usually they didn't neither ladies botch no moves. They were very good. They were very entertaining. I liked this match. I thought this match was to me one of my favorite one of the favorite matches of the night. I actually liked it more than the Apollo and Carmelo. And Carmelo is one of my favorites. And Carmelo won the series two straight and didn't allow swept from Apollo Crew. And I actually like this match a little more. So we get to the main event. Yes, indeed, the steel cage starts coming down, and then we see the challenger chastising the champion, wearing his uncle's gauntlet mask. He brings a brunette with him, with some and he had champagne. He had the ladies come down with bottles of Cook's champagne, ready to celebrate. And of course, the Waller Hive that goes there at 9 o'clock in the morning Tuesdays, and the guy with the green hat, and the lady with the pepper nose, and the other person, and that, And this one, the Grayson Waller crew, the guy that from Holland, whatever, from New England, that he looks like Lauren Hardy goes, and they want Waller to win. And what happens? He goes against Braun Breaker, the NXT champion. So he's got a lot of people behind him, and every Tuesday night, and the champion comes to the ring in the form of Braun Breaker. Hoo, 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 hoo. The match starts, and all hell breaks loose on the outside. Waller with some punches and hits with the cage, and he's almost trying to bait the champion into spearing into the wall. He goes, nope, not this time. Let me, without the spoiler of the winner of the match. What was your reaction? First and foremost, the entrance, the champagne, the people that's behind him.
I enjoyed it. I liked the entrance. All right. I enjoyed it, and obviously him bringing the gold shoe, for when he, it when he does win, then he put the champagne in the shoe and drink it out of there, like he did at Deadline, when he picked up that win in the Iron Survivor match, without without setting any spoilers. The match for me was kind of iffy. Now there were some spots where I was like, "You are kind of not too smart, with some moves that some people were doing, and the attacks on the outside." I was hyped for that. That I was like, please go through the barricade. Please go through the barricade. But obviously Braun Breaker a lot smarter, and he's like, not today. I fell for your moves a couple times. Went through the barricade. Got you speared. I speared you. I got hit with that armor. There are no playing games tonight. You're in a steel cage with Braun Breaker. That's it. There's no playing games tonight.
Indeed, and of course, WWE got rid of for this match the rule if anyone escapes the cage first to win the match. That rule was out. They wanted a clear cut winner by pinfall submission. Well, no getting out of the ring or anything like that because it also takes away from possibly a Waller or getting speared through the cage out and win. So they make sure that that angle was covered, any mishaps when he falls. One of the spots that I love was Waller hitting a cool move. He had a combination like a kill switch and a blockbuster. I love it when he went in between his legs and Breaker from there. Also, I love the fact where Waller kept and tagging up there and still trying to get under Braun Breaker's skin. That storytelling there, and Braun Breaker just underneath. He knew he was in a cage there, and my God, he used the cage to his knowledge. Some of the Frankensteiner from the top rope was phenomenal. I love the vertical suplex he had on there for quite a few minutes there. It was personally Braun Breaker fought this match like it was a personal fight, and of course he hits and he gets the spike, the spear, and then he just gets him up, slams him down, and Braun Breaker retains his title cleanly against Grayson Waller, pinning not just Grayson Waller, green hat guy, the Norwegian fella, the sign holders of the Grayson Waller section, the Grayson Waller Hive. Uh, Man, oh, I just was so happy. Oh, that it made my day. Waller sucks. He really, really sucks. Oh my God. I really love it. Oh my God. Relish. Oh man, I loved it. This was, to me, chef kiss. Because Brunson, you know I'm your fan. You know that Brunson, every time you go on the road, when you're in NXT, I'm the only one really, me and my wife, the only one cheer for you. You know you look at us for whenever you come up those steps for your approval. Brunson, I don't care if you call me a Braun Breaker Mark. So what? So what? He's the son of a legend and his uncle of Steiner Brothers. I loved it and I relish in it. Now, after the match was over, you see him go up on the top of the cage with the title. Out comes out who could possibly be the number one contender, Carmelo Hayes. Now, this is when I say I think Carmelo Hayes takes the title away from Brunson, from Braun Breaker at Stand and Deliver. But I can't wait for that build up, Jay.
Yeah, 100%. And I hope this is a long build up, and I hope it's an intense build up. It's a great storyline. It's gonna. I wouldn't say long term booking because we still have another month or two to get through till Stand and Deliver April 1st, in Los Angeles. So I hope Braun Breaker and Carmelo Hayes have an amazing match at Stand and Deliver. And like you said, I think this is time for Braun Breaker to drop the title to Carmelo Hayes. And then for the next challenger, whoever Carmelo Hayes faces, it is going to be a good storyline there too. But this storyline, it's going to be good. It's going to be intense. And I'm going to love it every second of it.
Yeah, you got long term booking here because April 1st is a long time from now. You got almost 2 months of, close to 6 to 8 weeks of building storyline back and forth from the chase to for that Braun Breaker title. I hope they just slowly tell it where, say there might be some type of an injury or whatever the case is. Just build it up correctly. What's next for Grayson Waller? I don't know, to be honest with you, because he is a hell of a but not for nothing, he is worthy of being a world champion. I'm not saying he's not, but I don't think it was his time. I don't think that I believe he wasn't his time to be world champion yet, and I don't know now. It's Carmelo Hayes' turn because I don't think because to be honest with you, I know everybody's thinking Carmelo Hayes should be the one being raised to the roster. It should be Grayson Waller. He has the heel mannerism. He's a little more older. He talks like a phenomenal superstar on the microphone. He's promo. He's got it. He could go out there and wreak havoc. I think it should be Grayson Waller going into the main roster now after losing here to Von Breaker, similar to what we saw last year when Gunther lost to Braun Breaker. Gunther ended up going to SmackDown. So could it be where he gets relegated there, where he starts making his appearance? I believe that's what's going to happen. I think Grayson Waller it's already called up. No more Grayson Waller effect. That will happen on the main roster now. You don't have a SmackDown show. Grayson Waller on SmackDown will be a nice addition there. Although I think Raw could really use him because you have LA Knight in SmackDown who could cut those promos. I think Grayson Waller because I'm tired of seeing Miss TV. It's time to give it a rest on that. I think it's now Grayson Waller effect.
Yeah. And I'm going to say something real quick about Grayson Waller. What's next for him? Now, if you tuned in to the bump, which a lot of people, tend to not tune in, but it kind of gives you what's next for people.
Oh,
Grayson Waller and Cody Rhodes were on the bump last on Wednesday, and kind of teased to a Cody Rhodes versus Grayson Waller match. Uh,
go ahead.
Cody Rhodes wanted to get invited down to NXT to be on the Grayson Waller effect, and Grayson disrespected the crap out of Cody.
Oh,
He said he wants to face Cody and have a match. So if he goes up to the main roster, he goes to Monday. I think, hey, I'm just throwing it out here. Monday's coming up. I'm going to Raw. Grayson Waller, show up, face Cody, because I know Cody's going to be there. He's having a match. He already announced it. We don't know who it is, but he kind of gave a list of where he's going to be and where the matches are going to be. Not who is going to be in the match with him. But if what's next for Grayson? If he goes up to the main roster, Cody's the first person he needs to go after.
So yeah, it also gives you a filler storyline wise where he could get preoccupied with this NXT Punk that comes up and goes after Cody Rhodes here for as a filler to WrestleMania. They also have time like the way we have Mello and Breaker for a storyline to fill for Cody Rhodes. Well, you know what? That you might be in a treat. You might be seeing a Grayson Waller at Monday Night Raw. You might be surprised with that. You never know. Absolutely, because he was very impressive. They did give him a nice ring induct. They gave him a nice ring entrance for him, and he looked at like $1 million. So, and he does deliver. Not he's not a bad. He's a great ring performer, but he just wasn't the face of what NXT is about right now. It's young wrestlers who are and the next generation. And Grayson is young, yes, but he's a little bit in his mid 30s, where I thought it would be more Brunson or Braun Breaker or Mello, that type of deal. I think they're waiting for Trick Williams, which for Mello to go up, but I don't see what's holding because you got to bring them both up. You be honest with you, I think Mello gets lost if Mello comes up by himself to the WWE to the main roster, I think you have to bring them up both Melo and Trick Hayes together to the main roster. They go perfect. The way he just is hype man, the way you did Ludwig Kaiser and Gunther, you gotta bring Trick and Melo up.
Yeah, 100%. And this is the reason why Carmelo Hayes is now actually going for the NXT Championship. Because if Trick was ready for the main roster, they would have been up at the main roster already. He
And I
wouldn't have
think
gone
he
for that
is.
NXT Championship. But it's Trick Williams. He has the it factor. He has the size. He has the build. He doesn't. He has the mic skills. He doesn't have that in ring moves. He doesn't have that. We've seen it improvement a couple weeks ago. We saw that. So he is moving up. So if he keeps going on that roll and he keeps moving up in achieving more things, we can see Carmelo Hayes being on the main roster by possibly next Royal Rumble, possibly a Royal Rumble entry or maybe even the SummerSlam.
I think
Um,
so.
yeah, SummerSlam, we thought SummerSlam was going to be last year. He was going to be there, taking on Seth Rollins, obviously because Riddle had that suspension, kind of suspension, kind of like he can't wrestle now because of what he did, and then he had that suspension after Clash the Castle. So yeah, it's definitely probably going to be time when Trick Williams definitely improves.
And he does have good wrestling moves. Can we book now? But it's up to now the booker and the NXT Shawn Michaels, whoever's in charge there, to start putting him in some matches there where, and not just Axiom, please put him on some other guys. Can we get him? Get some quality wins against Von Wagner if you're not pushing Von Wagner. Now you have Dijak. You see what I mean? You got the tall guys like that. You had that good. You had that. Wes Lee was getting pushed for a North American title run, and they put Trick against Wes Lee, where we knew Trick wasn't going to go over because they were trying to push Wes Lee. Can we also? It's also according to the bookers who they push them and where they persuade them to push him to get to that next level. And if he knows he's getting pushed there to for that kind of stardom, maybe now it's up to Trick. Now you have to just come out there and perform it and sell it. And if you know he's getting, and we got to see him not no level up. You got to, and there's nothing wrong with level up, but you got to book Trick Williams now with some importance now, where where you're like, oh wait a minute, so Mello gets that push, and when you bring them both up, they're both ready to go and hit the floor, hit the road running like way Kaiser and Gunther did. They were running, even though Kaiser lost a couple matches that led to Gunther chopping the crap out of him. But look at them now. That's my they got to do that with Mello and Williams. Hopefully they do there. But all in all, that concludes the Heal the Ring podcast NXT review of Vengeance Day. I really enjoyed this card, man. It sucks it wasn't in Orlando, Florida. It's good and bad at the same time because you get to other people got to see them outside of us that we get to selfishly see them each and every week. But other than that, I'm glad these guys all had fun. I'm glad that everyone that went on this road trip, I hope they had a good time. They enjoyed themselves. It looked great on TV. It looked great aesthetic wise. It looked like it was a full arena because the WWE made sure they showed you every angle of the camera. They made sure they show you the upper deck and the lower deck. It wasn't like that fake illusion that they do in AEW with Dynamite, where half of it is and people that are there in the crowd is the ones that shows the pictures of it empty. But that was full. Good job on WWE selling out that building.
Yeah, 100%. Vengeance Day was amazing pay-per-view, premium live event. My bad. And it was a great way to kick off 2023 since that was our first premium live event of NXT. Can't really count New Year's Evil. That was a special Tuesday. But hey, they're back on the road. They're gonna do business. Every premium live event, they're gonna be on the road. And it's going to be a good time. I obviously I'm going to miss them coming for premium live events on Saturdays to the Performance Center, but we still get to see them every Tuesday at the Performance Center. That's the good part. But I enjoyed that. The fans outside of Orlando and Florida, especially, get to see the talented young men and women on NXT TV every week. So that's good for them too.
Absolutely. So we shall see what's the aftermath, the afterfall here on Tuesday night NXT with the tag team champions, Gallus boys, with the new women's tag team champions, um, Kiana James and Philly Helen, and we'll just see what happens with Wes Lee. Who will challenge Wes Lee now for the North American title? I'm thinking I said it will be Tyler Bates possibly. Who knows who could be or what's going to happen now with Dijak, if he's going to be out for how long, and how long is his recovery, and it's what's next for Colonel Acid and Apollo Cruz. Are they going to, what was the reason why he turned on his friend? What's next for Carmelo Hayes? I know he wants Breaker. When is that going to happen for Stand and Deliver? Will the New Day return back to NXT? Do we see them making comeback, or they're back up on the main roster? They'll probably come back one or two more times and they'll leave. Maybe, maybe not. Pretty Deadly. What's next for them? Chase U. Will Duke Hudson finally go against Andre Chase? We should know. We tune in for Tuesday night. That is us tonight here, Heal the Ring podcast. Thank you for those who watched us on the watch along. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for those that are listening to us on the audio platform. Here, Heal the Ring podcast for the review. Hope you enjoyed the review. Please give the 5-star if you're listening on Apple, Spotify, Anchor, or Reason, or any other of the Google, any of the other audio platforms. Please give us a review. Please leave a thumbs up here on the YouTube channel as well. Also follow us on our social media platforms, Heal the Ring Facebook group, as well in Twitter, Twitch, any other places that you know us. Reddit, we would love to hear from you. If you guys want to come and become a panelist and join us and give your thoughts on the review here, just reach out to me there on the email address is in the video description, or you can just find the email address. So just in the chat, just let us know and we'll bring you on as a panelist. Always have an open mind to open. This is a program from the people for the people. We are audience participation program. Don't be shy. We don't bite, not too hard. So we always say something here at the end of the Heal the Ring podcast. If you ain't down with the Heal the Ring podcast, we got 2 words for you.
Just subscribe. See you, everyone.
Awesome! You people bought a ticket to see me, so shut up.
Yeah. Sometimes I get so mad, there's no control.
Ladies and gentlemen, just in case you live under a rock,
I might
you
grab
are
a bat,
looking
I
at the
don't know, my
youngest
rap,
and
my blood
fastest
boils
rising
over
star
like,
in
oh God, here
professional
goes. I
wrestling
lost all
now.
feeling from my head to my toes. You said some shit that I can't let go, so just stay tuned for the rest of the show. So have you ever felt betrayed? Switches how you see things, realize something needs change. Cause I know you got me fucked up, let me show you what's up. Cause enough is enough. I'll take a face full of pavement just to make a statement. I know there's no turning back. Oh God, adrenaline wasted, so mad I can taste it. I know there's no turning back. I'll do what it takes, I ain't making mistakes like that. I'll bleed on your face just to make you go take it back. I'll lose my shit, I go crazy when I'm mad. And now you gon' wish you was just a fuck up real bad.
Shut up. Be the villain! And I have no problem at all, because I couldn't care less if you like me or not. I'm here for success, and there's no one more successful than Grayson Waller.
Yeah.
Good night.
Let me talk to you. War game.
Bro.